welcome to Make It Plain. I am your host, Alfonso McGriff III, and I'm in the house to do the doggone thing one more time. I want to thank y'all for tuning in. I always appreciate it. I don't take it for granted. You can be doing any number of other things, but you chose to tune in and hang out with us tonight. So I want to thank you. Tonight, one of the things, what I had on my mind tonight was this celebration, Martin Luther King celebration, and celebrating going on. And I had some questions. The first question I had is, what are we celebrating? Exactly what are we celebrating? And it's a legitimate question because I think there's a lot of people that celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King and really don't have any idea what they celebrate. So what do we celebrate? Second question is, what is the dream? Is Obama a symbol of achieving the dream? Well, if so, what is the dream? Third question is, have we established any standards for ourselves? What are our standards as it relates to our standard for growth, our standard for evolving as people, our standard for education, our standard for life? What is our standard? Do we have any standards? Who are we fighting to be equal to? Why are we fighting to be equal to anything or anybody? What is it that we want as it relates to being equal? What is this equal business? How do we move forward from the civil rights movement? What were the goals for the civil rights movement? And the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments. Talk a little bit about that too. So those are some of the things I put on the table. And a couple of things I wanted to talk about tonight. So the first thing I want to deal with is this equality thing. What is equality? Who and what are we trying to be equal to? Are we still fighting for this so-called equality? What is that about? And equal to who and what? I've asked people this question, and one of the things that I've heard a lot of times is that equal access is what we are and were fighting for. Excuse me. We want to have the same access. Okay, same access as who? Equal access, equal to who? That's what I keep asking. When we want to have the same access to everything that the white people can have. That's the basis, I guess. And I still ask the question, why would we fight to be equal to white people on any level? What do we need access to? I mean, okay, we fought and got abused for the right to eat at the same lunch places white people eat at. We fought and got abused to be able to go to school where white people went to school. We fought and got abused to be able to live in the same neighborhoods as white people. I'm going to be the dead bear. What is it? Dead horse? Be the dead horse? Dead bear? Dead cow? But I can't say this enough because I see it going on every day. And I'm just going to keep sharing my perspective on it. But as long as black people, continue to have a desire to be validated by white people, to be equal to white people on any level as it relates to anything, we will never be able to fully recover to the extent that we begin moving at our true potential as a people. We should never move with the goal to be validated by white people, or to be equal to white people, or to have equal access as white people. Because a lot of the things we're trying to have equal access to, we haven't made the rules to those areas. We haven't established the foundation. For instance, equal access to the White House. We've arrived because we have a black president. Well, let's talk about that. How in any way have we defined what it is that the president represents, or how the president represents himself? When were we in the meeting to establish what the president does and how the president works? When were we in the meeting to establish that? And if we weren't in the meeting to establish how the president operates, then how does that become important to us? Especially if we weren't in the meeting, then it's the people in the meeting who the president is working for and working in their best interest. What I'm saying is, the president, no matter who he is or what color he is, cannot work on our behalf if we weren't in the meeting and established the purpose and goals and duties associated with the presidency of the United States. Well, we were not in the meeting. We weren't in the meeting. So what happens is now, when we see a black president, we're proud just because he's black and he holds an office that's important to white people. The office can't really be important to us. You know, it's kind of like if you're playing a game and we all sit around and decide how the game is going to be played. And there are certain areas in the game where you have more juice or power as it relates to how the game is played. Well, if we're all sitting around and we all establish how we're going to play the game all together, now I am a part of that which established each significant role in the game. And because I'm a part of that, of course, my input also helped define those significant positions. So now if I achieve or becoming one of those titles or one of those significant positions, then it means something to me because I participated in defining that. The question is, how can being the president mean something to us when we didn't participate in establishing and defining what the president does and what his responsibilities are and who he is? We weren't in that meeting. We weren't there at the Constitutional Convention. It was only racist white men. Now, if you doubt me, your president, Mr. Obama, gave me a perfect example to help you understand, to help us all understand the reality of the presidency of the United States. And I've said it before and I'll say it again 1,000 times, until I get to the point where, I realize it doesn't make sense to talk. Sometimes I'm hard-headed and sometimes I do beat the dead cow. I don't force myself on people But I will sure on this show share my perspective, certain ones over and over again if they need be, when I keep seeing us doing the same thing over and over again expecting different results. So let's establish how your president demonstrated to us who he serves and what his purpose is. During the mortgage crisis, and all these black folks were down there in DC, some of the very same people in fights with banks and sitting there not knowing whether they're going to have a house or not, all down there in DC for this inauguration, standing out there in the cold, and because we's got us a black president. And so, and I'm gonna get back to that we's got us a black president, because that's relevant. It's very relevant, and I'm gonna establish that understanding as well. So we're out there, a lot of us, right in the process of losing our homes, proud because our president is black. We have to stop moving in such shallow spaces. And we can't keep being blindsided by the color of somebody's skin, meaning progress has been made. A black person play football, now we making progress. A black person play basketball, baseball, hockey, oh, we making progress. Tennis, we really making progress now. So we have the black president, and the black president slapped everybody's face. And it was almost like everybody just rolled with the Bible, turned the other cheek. Because during the housing crisis, the black president did not, and I repeat, did not give the people who were losing their homes money. He gave the banks and corporations the money. Y'all remember that? Anybody remember that? He gave the banks and corporations the money, not the people. And to this day, the banks have held on to that money, basically keeping a lot of people in limbo. A lot of people sitting in the houses, they don't know whether they're going to be able to keep hold on to it or not. They're trying to work things out, and then they got all of these mortgage sharks out here trying to get, well, if you just give us $1,500 up front, then we'll be able to work something out with you. Give us $2,500 up front, we'll be able to work. We got all these sharks out here taking people's money, and you look around and you still in a crisis, and the banks are sitting back with the money. It's like, we're gonna hold on tight to this. So your president, the black one, gave the banks and corporations money, not y'all. Not y'all. Not the ones that stood out there in the cold. Not anybody that's watching this show scuffling, trying to hold on to their house. He didn't give y'all the money. He gave the banks and corporations money. The reason why that's significant is because every president in the history of this country has always served the best interests of America. America being code word for banks and corporations, being code word for white people that control everything. So the president of the United States has always served the best interests of the white people who control everything. It's no surprise because white people set up the structure. In every structure white people set up, there's always the master, the overseer, and the people who are enslaved. In every structure, you will find the master, the overseer, and the people who are enslaved. Even in the court system, the master is the judge. The prosecutor and defense attorney serve the best interests of the court system, the judge, not the people. They put on the show for the people, but they're there for the court system. They're there for the judge. And the people are the victims, the enslaved people. Make no mistake, No matter how much you're paying an attorney, when you go into that courthouse, it's you versus your attorney, the prosecutor, and the judge. Every time. Because you are what? You are the peons. You are the enslaved. That's how that system is set up. So they come to you, and 80% of the time they want you to cop a plea. Why? Because they've negotiated with the prosecutor, the other overseer, and the master, the judge, and all three of them have decided your fate. This is what you should do. And what does your attorney tell you? If you don't take this deal, and quote unquote, if you're convicted, it's going to be one hell of a harsh sentence. So you're operating against your attorney that you're paying, the prosecutor, and the judge. The defense attorney and the prosecutor are the overseers, and the judge is the master in that system. And the rest of us are just the enslaved peons who support the system. Without those who are enslaved, there would be no need for overseers, and there'd be no need for the master. He wouldn't have anybody to govern. So we keep the system going. And every system white people set up is the same way. When you look at the President of the United States, the President of the United States is the overseer. For who? For America. Code word for corporations and banks. Code word for white people who control everything. The President has always been the overseer. And we are who? We are the enslaved ones. We're the victims of the system. We are the ones that keep the system going. The overseer is there to make sure we serve the best interests of the master. The overseers in the courthouse, prosecutors or defense attorneys, they're both overseers, are there to make sure who the people serve the best interests of the master, the judge. Because, without us, it wouldn't need a judge or overseers. So the judge is making sure everything is, the overseers, the prosecutors, and the defense attorneys are making sure they're working in the best interests of the judge. And if you don't believe me, those who are in court understand, been to court, been through the process, know you're working against all three, even the lawyer you're paying. And sometimes it works out for you, and sometimes it doesn't. It's no different than walking in a big casino. America is a big casino. Most of us lose, and a few of us win. That's how it works. All systems set up by white people are the same. All of them. Same, easy to understand. So our president is an overseer. Well, if you check out the history of the enslavement of African people, there were overseers, black overseers. Sure, they had black overseers. Do you think the enslaved people were running around celebrating a black, we's got us a black overseer? See, that's no different. We's got us a black president. It's no different. Same thing. Overseeing the president is the same thing. Us running around celebrating having a black president is no different than us running around celebrating having a black overseer. We's got us a black overseer. So the overseer now kicks our ass. The overseer is the one the black overseer whips the women and helps tie her up to the tree, whips the men, and does everything that the master says. No different. So we's went to D.C. to witness our black overseer. And for some of y'all that don't understand me, you don't like what I'm saying. It pisses you off. But if you really take an emotionless look at the history of the President of the United States, you'll see that they all serve the best interests of America. Code word for corporations and big business. Code word for white people who control everything. It's always been that way. And this one is the same. And he showed you when he gave the banks and corporations the money and left y'all out there still scuffling. Even y'all that were out there in the cold for the inauguration, still not knowing whether or not you're going to have a house when you get back. So, what kind of progress are we celebrating? What are we celebrating? It is my perspective, based on my limited understanding of things, that whether it's Martin Luther King or Marcus Garvey or Fannie Lou Hamer or any of those people, any of our people who were scuffling through that turbulent period and this continued turbulent period of racism and foul white people, they were just trying to figure out how to live, man. They were just trying to figure out how to live. And a lot of us are still trying to figure out how to live. What is our dream? Have we established a dream for ourselves? Or is our dream, I keep seeing these pictures with Obama and Dr. Martin Luther King and high five and the dream established. What the hell dream has this been established? What? A black man in the White House, a black overseer, that's the dream? Was that really the dream, to have a black overseer? Was that the dream? And let me establish something. There can be no progress for black people if we look for white people to cooperate with our progress. Our progress, our dream, has to be independently established. And it can't depend on white people in order for it to actually be progress. See, we have to have dreams and standards that are established in spite of white people and what they're doing and not doing. They can't be established dependent on white people and what they're doing. So, what the hell kind of dream are we having here that depends on white people to cooperate? That dream is foul. And it's never going to come true. And it's never going to establish true progress for black people. How do we move forward from the civil rights movement? We move forward from the civil rights movement by realizing that white people are not our standard for what's best for us. We move forward from the civil rights movement by realizing self-respect has to be at an all-time high. Self-love, self-preservation. We move forward from the civil rights movement by understanding what procreation is, by helping to each other understand that our life is a preparation to bring forth life. That's what it's supposed to be, from the cradle to the grave. It's supposed to be a preparation to bring forth life, and then there's a transition to when we begin preparing the youth to understand that their life is a preparation to bring forth life. That's what it's really about. And then as we are doing what we call preparing our youth to understand that their life is a preparation to bring forth life, we begin defining what that is. How do you prepare to bring forth life? You prepare to bring forth life by establishing some self-confidence, recognizing that if you want your child to have a certain consciousness and thought process, you must have it. If you want your child to have a certain kind of health, then you must have it. If you want your child to have certain spiritual understandings, then you must have it. That's how you prepare to bring forth life. That's how we do it. That's what procreation was really about. We lost it during the period of enslavement. What are we celebrating when we celebrate the Civil Rights Movement and Dr. Martin Luther King? The Civil Rights Movement, again, was supposed to give blacks the same rights as white in education and employment and public sectors. That's the problem. Everything we're doing, we keep trying to have what white people have when we don't even know if we need it half the time. Because if white people got it, we must have to have it. Civil rights was supposed to be about ending racial discrimination in America and ensuring equal civil rights for members of every ethnic group. Again, here we go with this equal stuff. Racial discrimination will never be ended as long as they are white people. That's not possible. America was established as a racist institution from its birth. Not only a racist institution, but a violent institution. From its birth, it was established. From its birth, a racist, violent, murderous institution. And that's what it has been from its birth up until now. No matter how many rainbows are painted on the walls, this is a racist, violent, murderous institution. They said Martin Luther King's goal was to eliminate judging people of color, their skin, and have them judged by the character of their content, and that's never going to happen as long as white people are here. Racist white people are operating. That's not happening, because it's racist white people who are in power, and they're the ones that establish the rules and the foundation of how things go. I mean, you know, maybe it's possible in the year like 6025 or something, you know, maybe by then racism could potentially be weeded out, but by then the foundation of this country will have been reestablished, and that may be possible then, but based on the structure and the way things are in this country now, no, it's not. It's not possible to be judged by the content of your character when even right today, I can walk in an office to go to a meeting that I was invited to and get stopped at the doorway and harassed about, how did you hear about this meeting? Right today. How did you hear about this meeting? Well, who told you about it? The meeting is going on right over here in my eye shot, in eye view, and I'm harassed at the door by a white woman about, who told you about this meeting? How do you know about it? I'm looking at this woman, I'm saying, well, you know, I don't remember the woman's name, but I mean, I'm here because I was told about the meeting. Well, it had to be someone connected. Are you a part of an organization? What organization do you represent? I don't represent an organization. I'm here representing me. Well, now this woman has got me held up in the door, won't even let me all the way in the room with all of these questions, because she's looking at the color of my skin and looking at how, just judging me on how I look. And in her mind, what am I doing here? That's what she's saying in essence. Well, if you're not part of an organization, you must know someone. Someone must have been. Who is it that you know? Who invited you? As long as white people here, racism is going to be here. Bottom line. Now, if you have a problem with that, it's not me that has the problem. It's white people that have the problem. Because white people are the ones who, the onus is on them to change their historical behavior and relationship with people. They have the long, thousands and thousands of year history of consistent foul behavior towards anybody that's not of their skin color, and then even a foul history and relationship with their own people. So the onus is on white people to change that perception. It's not on me, because I still experience the nonsense right here in the year 2013. And there's other black people that still experience the nonsense right here in 2013. It's gonna as long as white people are here, that's gonna be the case, because that's the history associated with white people. And if they want to be looked at and received a different way, then they have to change their behavior. The onus is on them. So now we had the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment. The 13th Amendment to the United States Constitution outlaws slavery and involuntary servitude except as punishment for a crime. The interesting thing about this is, now I want you to, we're supposed to be human beings here in this country. And they literally have to put in an amendment to the Constitution. Now, amendment means it wasn't an original part of the Constitution. It was added afterwards, after the Constitution was established. So, an indication of how foul this country was and the people that were running it, white people, they had to write a rule against their own selves and their own behavior in the 13th Amendment to say, we hereby outlaw slavery and involuntary servitude except as punishment as a crime. They had to write a law in order for them to try to begin to understand and treat other human beings like human beings. They had to write a law. There's no other group of people in the history of the world, no indigenous group of people all over the world, that have to write a law in order to know how to treat other people. That's how white people got invited everywhere. We didn't need laws to establish and say, the original Tainos over there in what is called Puerto Rico now didn't have a law on the books and something called the Constitution that said, well, if white people come to shore sick, hungry, diseased, it's according to the Constitution, we have to help them. No. See, only white people have to establish laws. Now, I want y'all to check this. White people literally have to write laws in order for them to understand how they're supposed to treat other people. And see, we miss this because we're so caught up in it. We just miss how ridiculous this is. The white people had to write a 13th Amendment to outlaw the mistreatment of other human beings. The 14th Amendment grants citizenship to all persons born and naturalized in the United States. Now they have to write another law. We've been here, enslaved for over 300 years, but they have to write a law that says, well, okay, we'll allow you to be citizens. Born here, don't know nothing else, because we've been totally reconditioned. Our understanding of ourselves has been wiped from our consciousness. And they have to write an amendment that says, okay, well, since you've been here, born here, then we'll allow you to be citizens. Only white people. Yo, this is not me, I'm just saying. White people have to write an amendment in a law to be able to know how to treat other people like human beings. They have to write an amendment or a law in order to establish citizenship for a group of human beings who've been here, ripped from their own country for over 300 years, and they have to write a law that says they're citizens. And then white people have to write another law to themselves, an amendment called number 15, that says the people that we enslaved and brought over here from another country, we have to write an amendment to the Constitution to allow them to participate in the voting process. This is, what do you call it, pathological. This is white people. Now, when I say this is just truth. I don't have nothing against white people. I ain't mad at white people at all, man. Because I'm moving based on an understanding of a historical relationship. But only white people have to write rules and laws to treat people like humans, to establish citizenship by people who've been here for longer than they've been here, and to allow people to participate in the political process. They have to write amendments to a constitution in order for human beings to be able to operate as human beings in an environment called a country or a nation. That's some incredible stuff to me. I mean, this is the pathology associated with the consciousness and mindset of racist white people in this racist country. Now, what's even more pathological is that we're running around here using them as our standard for what's best for us. The same people that got to write a law in order to treat us like human beings, now they are our standard for what's best for us. Unbelievable. White people have to write laws to themselves in order to treat other people like human beings, and then continue to even break the laws that they wrote to themselves. This is, and it's like, it's amazing how we get so deeply entrenched in this setup that we just miss. This is not complicated. This is real basic stuff here. Now, in every country white people enter, and I could be wrong, again, this is based on my own limited understanding, my own studies, my own little research. If anybody can enlighten me, I'm open to being enlightened. But from what I've understood, there's no group of people anywhere on the planet who had to write special laws in order to treat white people like human beings. There's no group of people in the history of this planet, anywhere white people landed when they were lost and sick and diseased, no group of people needed a special law in order to treat white people like human beings. No group of people in the history of this planet needed special amendments to treat white people like human beings. All of them invited them in. Come on, with your sick ass. We'll heal you. We'll teach you how to feed yourself. We'll show you where the gold is. You want diamonds? We'll show you where that is. Come on. Welcome them. But everywhere white people establish rules, they got to write notes to themselves on how to treat other people like human beings and write amendments and laws, and then they keep breaking their own amendments and laws. Because it's not in their nature to respect any other group or culture or anything associated with that group of culture, including their language or anything, their language, their culture, their religion, anything. They've never had any respect for any other group of people that they've encountered on the planet. Never. Only group of people. They have to write notes to themselves on how they should treat other human beings. And we running down to D.C. because we got a black overseer in the White House. And we celebrate Martin Luther King because he taught us how to take ass whoopings in order to be equal to white people. The lines are open. 860-524-8920. 860-524-8920. 620. And you got any comments, call, you wanted to say anything, put it on the table. But what I'm saying is, my standard is this bowl I talk about all the time in Kemet. And there's this bowl is made of one of the hardest stones known to man. And it's just as smooth on the inside as it is on the outside. And it's the same thickness all the way through the bowl, all the way through. Mathematically, the bowl is the same thickness. Now, some people won't understand how serious this is. This bowl is, the rock that this bowl is made out of is harder than diamonds. Just as smooth on the inside as it is on the outside, and it's the same thickness throughout. And it was dated before the period. It predates Kemet and the dynastic periods. That's my standard. And right today, they can't duplicate this same bowl with the same rock. There's no machine or anything that they have today that can make that bowl. That's my standard. My standard for what's greatness, my standard for what's best for me, my standard for life and understanding how to treat people and living is not white people. That's why I wasn't overjoyed at the first black president. That's why I wasn't running to the first inauguration. That's why I didn't go to the last inauguration. That's why I didn't watch any of that. My standard is not white people. This is not personal, and I don't have anything against white people. I'm just clear about the relationship and what's been going on. And if somebody can enlighten me and show me where there's another group of people on this planet that had to establish rules on how to treat people, let me know, because I could be, operating in ignorance. We all are. We don't know everything, and none of us. But that's something else, man. That's serious business. If you never thought about that, you should. They have to write it down and put it in the law. And even however many years after, 140, 150 years afterwards, still breaking the same rules that they wrote down in their own constitution. Don't even have no respect for their own words. It's really amazing. But it's something that needs to be understood. So just like anything, when you go into the forest, you go in with the understanding of what you're working with. You don't go in totally blind. You go in understanding what you're working with. And this civil rights movement thing, I still ask people, would you send your 7-year-old child to a white school where the teachers hate the child, the students hate the child, the administration hates the child, the neighborhood hates the child, and they have to be escorted in by security in order to have the same opportunity as white people. Would you do that to your 7-year-old today? And if you wouldn't, the question is, why did we do it then? Something had to be wrong or a little bit challenged in how we were thinking to subject our children to that, and then we celebrate it. We call it the Mississippi 8 and the Louisiana 5 and the Alabama 7 and the, whatever. We celebrate this. I still have yet to hear any of them be interviewed about the trauma they went through. Being put in an environment like that in the name of integrating the school and having the right to go to school with white people. White people wouldn't even put their child through that. They sure wouldn't think about it. White people would not. And they would not. And there's no way, we have not done anything near to them what they've done to us in this country. But I still guarantee you they would not put their 7-year-old in an all-black school where all of the black people hated them, all of the teachers hated them, all of the administration hated them, the whole neighborhood hated them, and they had to be escorted in order to have an equal opportunity to study with us. What is in our minds? There's no group of people that would do that. What is it that's in our minds? What is this thing going on in our minds that would allow us to put our children through that? What is going on in our minds for us to do that? How damaged can we be to do something like that? So exactly what are we celebrating again with this Martin Luther King business? What are we celebrating here? I just really want to know, man. We need to know what we're doing when we're doing this stuff. Yes, caller, make it plain. Yes, caller, make it plain. Is the caller still there? If the caller's on the line, say what you gotta say. Okay, well, the caller's not there. What are we celebrating? When we celebrate Marcus Garvey, what are we celebrating? When we celebrate Malcolm X, what are we celebrating? We need to establish and understand what the hell we celebrating around here. Yes, caller, make it plain. I don't hear the caller. Man, this bootleg system. You hanging up on the people, Phil? I think Phil in there hanging up on people, man. I don't know, man. Whoever's is called back, because I don't know what kind of bootleg system we got, but it was working before we started the show, and now something else is out of whack. But one thing I will say, no matter how bootleg the system is, You know, if a light goes out, phone don't work, camera trips out, whatever, at the end of the day, I still feel grateful for the opportunity to be able to come on here and share my perspective about whatever I'm thinking. We gonna try this again. Call and make it plain. Say what you gotta say. I don't hear the call at all.
Hello?
Yes,
Hey, how you doing?
I'm all right. Go ahead.
Hey, I want to ask you a question. On Martin Luther King Day, why is people still celebrating after Congress, said they ain't want the holiday?
Say that again. Why? What?
Why did Congress and
I can't hear you. Can you
White
speak
House?
up, or can you speak into the phone better or something? Cause I'm not hearing you.
That's better?
All right, go ahead, Carl.
I just want to know why Congress is celebrating Martin Luther King Day. They swearing in President Obama. They didn't want the Martin Luther King holiday. And
I'm
then
hearing
somebody
y'all
else
in there. It's almost like the speaker is open in there, and I'm hearing y'all while he's trying to talk. All right, caller, man, just try it one more time.
Sorry about that.
Go ahead.
I'm saying why we are celebrating Martin Luther King Day and Congress and them at the White House said they didn't want nothing to do with Martin Luther King. As a people, we put up a big fight just to have that day, and it seemed like it's just like all phony when they and then President Obama. I mean, what's your take on that?
You know what? I personally, and this is gonna be a little bit rough for some people, but I personally don't have any respect for any of these so-called holidays. I don't subscribe to celebrating people. I subscribe to respecting people for what they did and trying to understand what they did in an attempt, for us to move forward. But I don't subscribe to any of these holidays for anybody because there's too much idol worship going on. We worshiping humans too much and not really questioning what they did and how they did it and how can we learn from what they did and how they did it. Forget about the man. Understand what the message was and how can the message help us today. That's what it's really about for me.
Yeah.
So and as
You
far as
think you got to a
Congress,
point that
as far as Congress not wanting the holiday or whatever, I really don't give a damn about what white people want or not want. It doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is that we want something that makes some sense.
do you think that will ever become reality to them? Because reality to us, I get your point. But you think it'll come reality to them?
I don't.
Or we just gotta accept.
I don't care what's real to them. I don't care what's real to them.
Right. Yeah, I hear you.
All right, my brother. Thanks for the call.
All right, my brother.
All right. I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Hopefully by next week we'll have this phone sound thing right. And we're going to do the doggone thing again. Next week I'm going to have a guest. A brother who's a great music producer. But he wants to talk about Kemet and some other stuff, associated with life. So I look forward to next week. I thank y'all for tuning in.